Alrighty, guys, best GP players for each position. Get your pen and paper, old school. Now, first of all, before we get into it, I have a full legend team. I have all the best players in the game. But I've also used 1, 2, 3-star squad against superstars as well. I use full non-legend squads. It's an illusion that think if you have all these legends, every game is going to be easy. You still got to play and play very good. And don't get fooled by this permanent B. Trust me, there are standard cards even better than legends. Let's get into it. Now, first of all, of course, contracts. You come here to standard player list. I'm not gonna cover the basics in a way. There are many things you have to kind of make an effort to get used to the game, of course. I have videos covering player ability, player skill, player playing style. We can't get into that in depth details because I'm covering every single position. Most of these standard cards, their playing style is different from their trending card player of the week or featured one or the legend one and so on. So every player I'm recommending, it's a combination of their ability, skill, positioning, of course, combined all together. And ideally their form to be unwavering rather than standard in a way. But of course you have more players on the bench now. And also something for yourself to get into it. For instance, if I want to look for a gem, like let's say it's kind of similar to Pirlo, for instance, I will go for filter and I will go with, let's say if I want a cheap Pirlo on the bench. I believe in making a balanced team. Not everybody's supposed to be 90 rated, especially if you're low in GP. Let's say a lofted pass, and then you go most important weighted pass, through pass, one touch pass. Heel trick is important too. Now let's see who's gonna show up. Now, of course, Pellegrini. If you want the absolute best passer for GP, he's got all the passing skills. How much is he for GP? Not that expensive in a way. But some people doesn't like a big clunky guy in a way. He's a big guy, but he's an attacking midfielder and is a whole player. Can play CMF too. Something more cheaper is my favorite is Jensen. This guy has all the skills. It's like a cheap Pirlo really. So it's good to have somebody like that on the bench as well. Level him up, train him, and so on. That's an example if you want to search for a specific player yourself. I wish they give us an option where I can filter abilities like speed, acceleration, and all that jazz. But let's get into the main thing in the video. Starting up with goalkeepers right here. Now there are different budgets as well. First of all, straight at the top, Courtois is the best option if you can afford them. Beyond that, cheaper option, I'm gonna go option 1 and 2, like if you have a lot of GP, if you don't have a lot of GP. Your cheaper option could be under 100k. That would be the secondary option. I would go for this guy right here. Even at base level, he's got offense awareness 80. Again, we spoke about player ability in a separate video. Don't want to get into that, otherwise this video is going to be very long. This guy is pretty solid too, and Weaver in form as well. But my second option is Bono in a way. Maybe get both, one on the bench. That's goalkeeper covered, as simple as that. Next thing, let's go with centre back. First of all, yeah, De Ligt. And then, all depends really. If you play quick counter, you need somebody fast like Alaba. Otherwise, De Ligt, lone ball counter. I think if you're new to the game, try lone ball counter tactic because it doesn't mean spam lone ball, just mean play directly, get the ball out of your own half. I mean, that's pretty much meta of the game. Quick pass into the final third anyway. Defense transition is better with lone ball counter. So my first is De Ligt. And then we go down, other option will be Kundo. It'd be a good combination. He's fast and agile and pretty solid. Most people use him on a fullback position as a CB. But De Ligt, Kundo, and my third option is Marquinhos. Cheaper option, I mean, Cernia, I like him, but he's a destroyer as well, presses a lot. Rudiger, Hernandez are good, but for my top three will have to be De Ligt, Kundo, and Marquinhos. These guys are the top tier defenders that comes up standard. Bastoni, extra front man, kind of joins the attack a little bit too much. Not a particular fan of him, unless I play 3 at the back. You want something for position game, for instance. You want to look for somebody with, at base level, has decent ball control, decent passing. He's perfect for that, but of course he's a bit slow. So that's my top 3 options in a way. You can't really go cheap on defenders. You gotta save up, you gotta grind if you're not, buying coins regularly. So that's my 3 option. The fourth option, now you understand why I'm picking these guys, the combination of their skill. If he's not fast, then he has to be strong and tall with high defensive awareness. He can't have both. Now, of course, Van Dijk, Ruben Diaz are good, but Van Dijk is stamina, even though this guy never gets tired in a way. And of course, I have videos about which skills it's the best for center back, which skills are good for fullback. I posted in the community section. Stones are perfect for position game too. At base level, he has decent ball control, tight position, passing, and so on, but lacks a lot of skills. He doesn't have aerial superiority, no blocker, no fighting spirit. So that's when it comes to that. And then we go for left back. I think straight off the bat has to be Robertson. Davis, for me, he's not really a defender in a way. Maybe if you have Davis as a left back, then your right back has to be somebody like Pavard, more defensive. But for me, option one, number one, has to be Robertson. And then maybe a defensive fullback like Mendy. Other option, if you want somebody fast, cheaper than Davis, that has to be Nuno. But for me, Robertson, cheaper option, Luke Shaw. Mainly because of the skills. He's got blocker interception, which is important. Plus, he's got passing skills too. So Luke Shaw and Robertson, these are the two options I personally recommend. For your right back, doesn't go beyond whether if your left back is offensive, then your right back needs to be defensive. Otherwise, Arnold, now he's actually a fullback finisher. Fullback finishers come more central. Same thing with Cancelo. So you got those two top tier. Walker is pretty solid as well, in my opinion. Could be the third option. Defensive option is an absolute must, or maybe have him on the bench, is Pavard. So Di Lorenzo, solid. You got so many more options when it comes to a right back. Actually, Di Lorenzo was a defensive fullback, but he's solid, man. So absolutely solid. Tomiyasu could be a good option as well, depending on how you train him. So in terms of defensive fullback, you got Tomiyasu, you go Pavard, and other options would be Di Lorenzo. It's kind of a more solid at base level. He's got okay defensive ability, but if you're playing quick counter, then you definitely need somebody like Cancelo or Hakimi if you play quick counter. I mean, it's all there as soon as you filter and you search for it. Instead of your DMF, again, it all depends whether you play quick counter or long ball counter. For position game, Rodri. Kimmich, I wouldn't trust him as my main defensive midfielder, usually somebody who supports the midfielder. Casemiro, if you play long ball counter, not quick counter. Other option, Tchouaméni is actually an anchorman now, absolutely solid. He's got most of the skills as well. So he comes, as an anchorman, he comes for my first option right now, especially the way the game is. Rice the Destroyer. Fabinho is no part of live update. You may get him, he may not be in a good form. Otherwise, for long ball counter, he's a solid anchorman. The cheapest and the most effective option also could be, the one and only Barrios, which is right here. Lobotka is pretty solid, orchestrator. If you go for a double pivot, ideally you want to go for a destroyer, orchestrator, destroyer, anchorman. Lobotka is pretty solid there. Benaker, if you want something more technically better in a way, but at base level, defensive awareness is pretty low. He's got everything else, speed, acceleration, perfect for quick counter maybe. I don't know if Barrios is still in the game. How much lower rated Barrios is going? Holy shit, pretty low. But yeah, I think this guy, you should always have him. He's got most of the skills, blocker, interception. Maybe doesn't have acrobatic clearance, but he's good as a second option to be your DMF on the bench. Third one, let's go for center midfielder. Now, of course, when you have your solid defensive midfielder, you want a center midfielder, ideally a box-to-box, who would pick up the ball from your defense and support the attacking midfielder. For that, you can go with Bellingham or Valverde. De Jong, absolutely solid, but lack defensive ability. Wouldn't see him as a supporting defensive midfielder. Modric, the standard card, I would not recommend him really. Pedri, how did I forget Pedri? This guy is just good. Let's just put it that way. You need Pedri. Get him. DePaul, for the whole player, has every single passing skills really. So if you're somebody who like to play LMF, RMF often, maybe DePaul would be more versatile. I think as a versatile player like that is ideal. But beyond that, Barella. My option number one for box-to-box is Barella. Barella, Kante, Marcos Llorente, now he's a box-to-box, pretty versatile as well. So Barella, Marcos Llorente, uh, what playing styles Camavinga? I mean, he's good. Anguissa's feature card is good. I can't say much about his standard card. You want something more technical, more offensive if you play position, Gavi and Pedri. I think beyond that, really, you don't want to go lower budget than that. I guess Kante is no longer in the game. This Tram is his special card is pretty solid actually. For a big guy, he's so agile. But this is not a he's not an offensive minded box to box nor defensive minded box to box. So if you're looking for somebody, especially if you're playing quick counter, you don't want to use players like that. But Barella, Bellingham, Valverde, if you want somebody a little bit fast but less defensive ability. So in my opinion, yeah, Barella is my number one option for your box to box. There may be Bellingham on the bench with him, but you can pass Pedri if you play position, for instance, Gavi and Marcos Llorente. So that's four of them. In terms of your attacking midfielder, now left and right midfield, that really depends what formation you play. For crossing game, doesn't go beyond caustic. I'm trying to recommend player positions for formations that is effective in the game. Personally, I don't play meta. I play variations of stuff, but I have to be fair. Only recommend players for positions that I would recommend the formation to play with. So maybe I'm gonna leave the LMF and RMF. Yeah, I think these players, someone like Quadrado, could be good for three at the back. They help out a little bit with defense a little bit. Beyond that, yeah. Let's go for attacking midfielder. If there's any players you guys recommend that as a gem has been added, let me know as well, of course. Now, De Bruyne is solid. He's got the most passing skills. He's a big, clunky guy. He's not that fast, of course. I wouldn't use him for quick counter, for instance. Beyond that would be perfect. Second option, you go Musiala. Personally, I don't like Fernandez. For a technical player that you need the high type position, his balance is absolutely horrendous. Otherwise, for the guy spread the ball like a dynamo, for a tap-in as a whole player, could be solid. So for an attacking midfielder, then comes the meta of the game. My number one recommendation is Nkunku. You can't go wrong with him. Pellegrini, at the start of the video we talk about it, he's got every single passing skill. You want something more technical, whole player, Pellegrini. You want something more sweaty, or what you guys call it, broken in OP, go for Nkunku. You want somebody with a nice hair, there's your guy. Second option, apart from Nkunku, I would definitely recommend Fekir. Whole player, as you go through passing skill, he does perfect. He's a little guy, nimble, fast, speed, acceleration, all key abilities at level 1, pretty solid. And his form is unwavering as well. Ritz, I think he's a whole player as well. Can't go wrong with him either. He's got the most passing skills too, so that's like option 3. Xavi Simons, I used this guy when he was 1 star. This guy's everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, he could be like a super sub for your main AMF. There are so many options for attacking midfielder, really. But definitely Xavi Simons, Fekir, Pellegrini, and Nkunku. Again, Pellegrini pick if you play position or if you prefer somebody a little bit more technical. In terms of wingers, left wing forward, since most of you guys probably play with left wing forward, Son, it's in the bracket of best striker in the game, alongside with Mbappe. And there are 2 Sons, by the way. This one is not part of the live update. So, but again, at the moment on eFootball2024, like, condition arrow doesn't mean anything. As long as your managers go good proficiency, you will get 2+ on player ability. I have a video talking about that. So you can get the Son. He's higher rated, but goes lower level. Because you've got the Tottenham Son, of course, here. He's lower rated, but goes higher level. So Son, whether it's your prolific winger or your main striker, is an absolute must player. In fact, should be your first player that you buy if you're making a squad. Kvara, if you like dribbling, yeah, he's good. It's very static in a way, only plays left or right. He's a prolific winger. I recommend having a Roman flank who comes in a little bit more. Otherwise, with prolific wingers, especially when they don't have SS position available, I don't recommend them. If you're the type of player who would just touch and turn, don't dribble, maybe not him. Diaz can be solid as well. Again, depending on the formation, somebody like him, for instance, he's right-footed play on the left or right. He's got pinpoint crossing, decent passing. If you have a good target man, probably Diaz would be useful. So is Chiesa. Again, if you have a big target man, you need wingers like Chiesa who's got passing skills in a way. Otherwise, you cut and you finish. Then Rafael Leao, I think, is a super sub. Same thing with Son, really. I use his special card. I've never tried his standard card, but at base level still looks solid. For a big guy, he's fast, he's got high balance, physical contact. At base level, pretty solid in my opinion. So I would recommend him as your super sub, whether you put him on, but by default, he's a prolific winger. I thought he was a Roman flank. So he could be your striker as well. Same thing with Son, very versatile. Phil Foden, little, small, nimble guy, kind of like Pedro category. Could be good as well. Plays a lot of different positions. Definitely recommend him. I think Jota was a dummy runner before. Now he's same thing. I think you've got Jota, you've got Leao, you've got Son. These guys can be very, very useful because they can play on the wing. They can play as a striker as well. Now, of course, they're not natural striker. They're not goal poachers or striking skill in a way. So that is like a combination of different versatile players that I would definitely recommend. In terms of the wing forward, Saka definitely a game changer. That he can play on the left, he can play on the right. Whether you play 4-4-2, 3-5-2, 4-2-2, or a traditional 4-3-3, I think he should be in your main target in terms of a right winger. Second option, of course, you got Salah, who can only play as a right wing, nowhere else, unless we get position trainers. Otherwise, solid. And then you got Rodrigo, absolute must have a super sub. Dembele, I feel like is a player you put on when you want to, I don't know, Joe. You know, when you're beating your opponent, you have him in your pocket, you just want to dribble about. That's kind of Dembele in a way. Di Maria, if you play maybe 3 at the back or 4-4-2, you want somebody who can play AMF, CMF, LMF, RMF, left, right, wing, forward. He's good. He's a good technical passer, good dribbler as well. But in terms of offense, he's kind of not there in a way. Kingsley Coman is fast. Correa can be very good as well, actually. At base level, he's got all these technical abilities combined with skills. Plus, he's a super sub. So I can't go any lower than that. Otherwise, there's a lot of gems, of course. The next option for your second striker. Let's see how many natural second strikers we've got. Of course, you can go with Neymar or Messi, but their standard card is just, nah, it's not worth the GP, especially with that stamina. It's weird, man. I face like these standard cards with low stamina. They survive the whole game. This game is very weird. I mean, we had like 2 free Messi cards and free Neymar card. Dybala with inconsistent form, not for me. Griezmann can be okay. I don't really rate him that much for me. Maybe because he's got nice hair. But a whole player, another than his versatile, can play as a SS AMF on the flank. But whole player cards only active as a AMF, CMF, and SS, not on a wing forward or striker. So depending on how you like to play, I think for quick counter, you want to look for those nimble guys. I think he's pretty solid. Again, he's very versatile. He plays a lot of position. If you don't dribble often, maybe go for something really sweatier. You can't go wrong with Nkunku. Raspadori is pretty solid. At base level, you want to look for key abilities, speed, acceleration, balance, tight position, ball control, dribbling, finishing. Maybe not a great passer. And he's a super sub too. Maybe have a bunch of super subs. Lookman, I definitely recommend him. I've used his standard card so many times at the start. Absolutely love this card as well. Beyond that, I think we'll stop it from there. Now we come to your main strikers. Now, of course, the obvious one is going to be Mbappe. But trust me, Mbappe, Son, these are your main 2 expensive targets that you should buy first. Mbappe and Son. And many other cards, what I recommended, which were naturally wingers, but they can play as a striker. Haaland, of course, going to be good. I mean, whether you play a cross-spamming game or a tap-in or flick header kind of game you play, if you have 2 good wingers with passing, yeah, Haaland can be good. Otherwise, personally, I cannot play with players like Haaland. You got to give him simple balls. He's just fast chasing the ball and then a tap-in and a score. Dribbling with him is a nightmare in a way with that low-type position and everything. So personally, I don't rate him. I'm talking about something that's going to give you domination if you're good enough when you reach Division 1 or maybe not struggle in Division 2 consistently. That's why I kind of don't recommend Haaland. But if you're comfortable with having a big guy, maybe go for Osimhen in a way. At least his dribbling is slightly better. And he's got the aerial superiority. He's not Haaland, but pretty solid in the air too. Plus, he's got a cool mask. If you want something more nimble, more effective, apart from Son and Mbappe, two obvious one, my third option is 100% Gabriel Jesus. You're looking for somebody slow, nimble, good passing, good ability at base level. I don't know if this one is still super sub. No, he isn't. I don't like that trackback card. So Mbappe, Son, Jesus. And then my fourth option would be Lautaro Martinez. Beyond that, if you're looking for big guys, as I said, Osimhen can be good. He could be okay as well, depending on the skills that he's got. Doesn't really have much skills, no area superiority for the big guy. I think that's one of these most hidden area superiority. Depay is good, but deep playing forward, these players kind of drop when you try to attack. It's not ideal for the game. Personally, I like deep playing forward, but I'm trying to recommend players who are effective in the game. Generally speaking, not everybody knows how to make deep playing forward. This guy, I swear to you, for a big guy, he's so agile. I don't know. I think they're brothers with the other guy. But yeah, inconsistent form, stamina's terrible. He's not even a super sub. Otherwise, he's absolutely so much fun to play with. If you're looking for somebody who's a little bit good in the air, because at base level, he's got decent jump. And heading at green, orange tier. So maybe give him aerial superiority, probably one-touch pass and so on. Or super sub too. Tony's pretty solid in the air, actually. Now that he's a target man as well. I love this card a lot. Use them often. So that is covering up every possible position in the game. Oh, Martial is pretty solid too, actually. You want to look for base ability at level 1. All key abilities for a striker or for defender. You know, you want to look for key abilities. I said if you understand player ability combined with skill, you will know which players who are good or bad. He's got most of the key abilities at the orange tier, close to even 80 really. Ball control, dribbling, speed, acceleration. So he's kind of there. He's your goal poacher right there. He's a super sub too. So there are so many options, man. And believe me, once you understand the game, once you understand the mechanics, you can make a absolutely solid GP team. Trust me. Take it from me. You do not need to spend money in this game. Especially the way this game is right now. I mean, I've got all the best cards in the game. All the 100 raters, all the boosters, all the epics, all the legends. Most matches, I face bang average, not even good standard cards. They're surviving for 90 minutes. Their AI positioning, they're as elusive as Michael Owen. Defensively, they have super accurate position like Booster Nesta Epic. You know what I mean? So if a bang average card under AI is doing well and you're good controlling them, then what more do you want? Now, of course, having full legend help, but it doesn't help as much as people make it to be. Because the stronger team I have, the more difficulties in the game I face. That I don't face those difficulties when I use maybe a team not full of 90 and 100 rated players. Trust me on that one. And I don't consider myself a good meta player in a way. I like to use things I like. It's called Dream Team. I want to create my dream team. If I use everything that is only effective in the game, that is just the gamer's dream team. But I understand that. For me, fun is using players I like, formations I like. Of course, I want to win too. I don't want to lose, but I want to win in my term. I want to dominate in my term. And when it doesn't work, yeah, sometimes it gets frustrating. That's why in most of my videos, I'm not trying to just teach you meta. You have to understand the game first. And then maybe understand the meta, even if you're not going to. Because I guarantee you, more than 80% of your opponent, they're just spamming exploit. They're not even playing the game in a way. Being honest here. That's why I'm kind of not recommending certain technical, cool, cute players in a way. But anyway, hope you find the video useful. Comment down below if you have any questions on Twitter, on Discord, on live on Twitch. Most nights half 10 as well. You can join me there too. Till next time.